this site, the adjacent area, and some of the changes that are proposed. So this today is a substation owned by Seattle City Light. They no longer need it, and so they're going to be surplusing that property, putting it up for sale. Under state law that's meant to protect ratepayers, they have to put it out and get market value for it. So it will be open. As part of that process, we as the city always look at it to see whether it might be appropriate for affordable housing or some other use. We went through that process and found, because of the size of the site, that it probably was not most appropriate for affordable housing. So the idea is that it will go out for public sale. So today we have these three corners here are what we call neighborhood commercial zoning. They currently could go to 30 feet. If they were redeveloped, they would still have to have commercial on the ground floor, but they could have 2 floors of residential above it. As part of, a couple of years ago, the mayor and council put together something called the Housing Affordability and Livability Agenda. And it was a way of trying to address the housing affordability crisis we have in our city. There was a stakeholder group that came up with a range of ways they wanted to go about doing that. One of those proposals was something that we call mandatory housing affordability requirements. The idea is that all new multifamily commercial development in the city will have to contribute to affordable housing if this proposal goes forward, by either providing affordable units on site or by paying into a fund. At the same time that we're implementing those standards, everywhere that we're implementing them, people would be allowed to build slightly larger buildings. And the idea is by doing these two things together, we'll get a lot more affordable housing, but we'll also continue to get the market rate development that's necessary to drive just the supply issues that we're having. So what that means for this neighborhood, on these 3 sites where you could build 30 feet or about 3 stories today, if this proposal goes through, you could build 4 stories to about 40 feet. And at the same time, that development would have to contribute to affordable housing. While we were doing that, there was a request from Councilmember Herbold's office, which was a relay from what she was hearing from local residents, to consider this site as well. Today it is zoned single family, so if it was redeveloped, really the only thing they could do is put in 2 single family homes, detached. But there was an interest in also looking at something that allow for more commercial development. Obviously, there's a lot of pride, I think, in the local businesses here, and there's an interest in potentially expanding that. So we're also looking at the possibility that would have the same zoning as the other blocks, neighborhood commercial, which would have require commercial on the ground floor, but would allow a residential above that. Obviously, it could be up to 4 stories. That's obviously the maximum they could do. That doesn't mean it necessarily would be redeveloped. It could look at a smaller commercial store, more of the scale of what's here, or it could be a larger one with residential above it. So that's what we're looking at. That proposal we've been talking, the larger mandatory housing affordability proposal we've been talking about since October. We're finishing up our public process on June 30th. The next step would be to create legislation that would go to council, and they would vote on it next year. So we are in the process of accepting comments, so we're interested in hearing what you think about it. Obviously, the final proposal will have to be voted by council and the mayor, so that will also be an opportunity to talk to them directly as well.